A good friend of ours from the gym called Ricky wanted to do like a carjacking scene. We dressed him up in an old lady grandma suit. And
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Get the Shot, brought to you by Tamron Australia. My name is Joe Orchard. I'm here today with Dmitri Cherkasski. Dmitri is a cinematographer, editor, videographer, whether it's music videos, documentaries, short films, pilots. He does it all. Dmitri recently shot and edited a pilot called Licensed Tequila. We're gonna get all into that today. Dmitri, thanks for coming on the show.
cheers, Joe. Thank you so much for having me.
You didn't start off shooting and editing. Like, how did you fall into it?
So, I mean, I think it kind of goes with like most filmmakers' stories. I kind of feel like it's the same story like with many filmmakers. It's sort of like dad gets a camcorder, they want to play with it, and then they try it out, and then they're shooting their family their family holiday, and then editing it and all that kind of stuff. Because that's really what I was doing. Dad had a camcorder, he'd be filming the family holiday videos, and as a curious kid, like I'd want to do the same thing. And I'm like, Dad, let me have a try, and just learning the very basics. And and this was back on like a DV tapes. So, recording on the DV tape and then docking the camera into the dock and then literally having to use a capture card to, get the footage off of the camera and into the computer. And then, just editing this all together to do a family holiday. And just over that time, learning about cameras and that, it's just got my interest in the thing more and more and more. And, God bless my dad, like he is so into cameras himself, and just bit by bit, just learning about cameras from him, focal lengths, and he got me my first camera, and we'd go out and take photos and videos. It's really like all from him that I really got into it all. And so just from that, bit by bit, learning experiences, what have you, I just wanted to delve more into it.
My dad also had a camera, but it was the work camera that would sometimes come on family holidays, and it was like, be careful, this is an asset, like can't have you mess around and break this.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think ours was like what, a JVC, like if anyone even still remembers JVC camcorders.
I remember, I actually don't know what Dad had, so I don't remember. Never mind.
Yeah.
You brought up something interesting in your origin story where it was filming and editing as a together thing that you learnt in the process. For me, I always liked video, and I learned editing after sort of getting an idea of what video was and how to do video. Has that impacted how you've approached the work you do now? You're always trying to do video, shoot and edit?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sort of, learning the bits and pieces as you go along. I mean, obviously it's one thing to go out, film something and then just leave it in a book on a card and then just does nothing, even though I still kind of do that. Yeah. So, as we all do, we go out, we film something, but then we don't edit it.
Yeah.
But, back then, just learning the basics, like Dad downloaded, he required an editing software of some kind to cut all this footage together. Started out on a program called Pinnacle Studio Pro, if anyone even remembers it, it's long gone. But, you go out, you get the footage, and then it's like, well, Dad's like, well, we want to send this footage off to relatives overseas, so come on, chop, let's put it together. He'd edited originally, but then let me have a crack. And I'd learned the most basics about editing, like cut and then audio and what have you, manipulation. But the funny thing is, when I was growing up and doing filmmaking and all that, as a kid, editing was the thing I actually hated the most. Because it's so much fun to grab the camera, go out into the field and film stuff, and then you bring the footage back and chuck it on the computer, and you're like, oh, just assemble yourself, damn it. I don't want to sit here for hours. And I still feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think for me, what was one of the most fundamental, interesting things was, I remember I saw this YouTube video, and it was just literally editing 101 basic cuts, just one after the other, J cut, L cut, smash cut, jump cut, and all this stuff. And the moment I was watching this video, everything just seemed to click, and I was like, okay. The subtle little manipulation of just putting these two pictures together, and maybe even a frame here and that, can literally just change the impact of the story altogether. And the moment I watched that video and I started applying a lot of the things that I learned in that video to my own work, suddenly editing became from the thing I hated the most to the thing I was excited for the most. So, yeah.
I just hate editing when it's an empty timeline. Like once I'm actually 30% through, that's when it gets fun.
Yeah, I know.
But I think there's a Rocket Jump film school has a similar video which teaches you all the cuts and they had these great examples.
That was actually it.
Was that it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was actually Rocket Jump. Yeah,
Shout out
Yes,
Rocket Jump.
Rocket
Shout
Jump.
out Freddie Wong. He's back actually.
Really?
Trying to fund a movie of his. So
Oh, sweet, that's cool.
I don't know if it's still going to be up by the time we release this.
Right,
but,
okay, cool.
You know, good luck to him.
Right.
Do you know the Kuleshov effect?
Yes, I do. Yes.
This is my favorite thing. So I'll explain it. It's if you've got a shot of a man looking at something and then you cut to like a hamburger, you assume the man's hungry. But let's get that same shot of the man looking at something and we cut to a woman. Now we're thinking he's lusting. So it's this cool approach to where editing, it doesn't actually matter too much what your source is, what comes after, and that actually tells the story. And as soon as you unlock that knowledge, suddenly editing becomes just a really fun ride.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, J cuts, L cuts, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It becomes there's a science to it, weirdly enough.
I mean, yes and no. Like, it's interesting because I read Walter Murch's book. I keep forgetting. I think it's Blink of an Eye or something like that. Like, it's like the Bible of editing.
Yep.
And you know, it is that big debate of like, what is is editing more scientific or is it more artistic? Is it more instinct or is it can be learned? I mean, obviously, like with any skill, you can learn it, you can practice it, you can develop it. But I don't know. There is a bit of a thing I find with editing. You know, I never went to film school, what have you. I just literally, you know, as Tarantino said himself, I didn't go to film school. I went to films. So same thing here. I didn't go to film school. I just literally just played with it one after the other with the footage, the edits, and what have you. And again, it was just that subtle little thing. Maybe it's literally just a frame. You literally just shave a frame off, and then suddenly that jump cut works much better. Or, you know, literally just like swap around the J cut. The J cut isn't working. Why isn't the J cut working? Maybe let's try actually do it the other way. Let's turn it into an L cut. Oh, suddenly the conversation is working so much smoother. It is that weird thing. I think but the beautiful thing about editing is you give the same footage to 10 different people, you'll get 10 different edits.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it is a debate, like, you know, is it more scientific or is it artistic? But, you know, everyone's comes up with their own edits and they're all right. They're all correct in what they're doing. But then it just comes down to, you know, how did somebody interpret this footage one way or the other? And really anyone can do it. It's just, do you have the patience to sit there and experiment and play with it and see where it takes you?
I want to extend your thinking there because we're talking a lot about editing, but you're also videographer, cinematographer. You use a camera for video purposes, whatever word you want to use. How important then is the footage? Because, you know, can a good editor turn bad footage into something good? But good footage can also be poorly edited. So where does the footage and getting the shot come into it?
That's really fascinating because I've worked on a multiple variety of edits where, like, in one project it was like just all the framing was off and just like you know, the footage just was so poor, like just the 180 rule was broken and everything, like you just think to yourself like, oh man, like just I don't know what I can do with this. Like, there's got to be a way I can like kind of like shift around, maybe even like trick the audience by like, okay, I'm going to flip this image and then hopefully they'll fix it. But then you realize like, oh damn, suddenly the partition of the hair is on the wrong side. Hopefully they don't notice. But then I've actually worked on footage on a film where again, same problem, poor framing or this or that, and just not really thought through. And yet you work with the footage, you work with the pacing, you work with the story, and then suddenly just it comes together and you're like, okay, like, yes, the framing could have been better. Yes, the angle, or, this shot, this would have been so much better if they literally just panned left to right and then I didn't have to do that cut. But, like, there is something to me with the limitation that I've got that I can turn it into something good. Actually, there was a project that I worked on. I got the footage and it was for a short film. And I cut it all together based on the script, but we didn't have enough footage. They literally didn't get through. They didn't capture everything in the day. And I put it together and I messaged the director and I said, listen, like I cut it to the script, but like there's just not enough of what you've got here based on the script. We're not going to get that short film. But I got some good news for you. It's turned into a pretty damn good music video. I went online, I went on the royalty-free music site that I use all the time, and I got the soundtrack to use temporarily, but then I chucked it on, and it just, for some reason, magically just fell into the music track beautifully. And I sent it to him, like, okay, you don't have a short film, but you've got a phenomenal music video. Let's just work with that.
Yeah, nice. Awesome.
And it was awesome. It turned out to be a great project, and he was over the moon about it.
You've done lots of work for other people, as we sort of all do, but now you've sort of worked closely with some mates and you've produced Licensed Tequila, a pilot. You're still working on it at the moment, and you graciously sent me 2 scenes to watch. It's a really fun, innovative idea. Do you want to sort of talk about it and your involvement in it?
Yes, so my good mates are Rafi and Udi Meyer. They have been working on this pilot, this pilot for a TV show for years. Essentially, the basic premise is, imagine Dirty Harry meets The Office. It's about a couple of dipshit filmmakers in the Australian, trying to break into the Australian film industry. They want to make their own 70s buddy cop movie, but they seem to have bitten off a bit more than they can chew. And so the whole film is, the whole pilot is just their trials and tribulations of trying to get this film funded, film shot, and what have you. And it was just so much fun jumping from one film style to another. Like one day we're filming like proper framing, like cinematic, like 2.39 to 1 aspect ratio, widescreen, and like trying to make it as 70s as possible. Next moment, you're taking the camera off the tripod on, handheld, and you're trying to make it as like documentary, mockumentary style as possible. That was a massive challenge as a cinematographer, but like it was just so much fun, like really like, playing with it and just really tapping into it all.
One of the cast members is Blake Pavey.
Yes.
Great comedian, very funny. And there's a scene where the characters are sort of arguing and he's involved, and it's quite funny how they're all arguing with each other. Was that written or improv?
Bit of both. Well, mostly in that edit, what we've got is, it's like 80% written, what we have. But what's happening in the story is like we had to have essentially like make it look like as though they've gone for they're trying to have a reasonable conversation, and then it devolves into an argument, and then the argument really reaches a forte. And so like I think essentially I told the guys like, okay, listen, we're just gonna like take the conversation and the build up and the climax, we're gonna put them together when we're filming it, and I need you guys to riff from this first chunk of written dialogue to the final bit of written dialogue, so that we have some energy to build from one to the other in a work in the edit. So as a result, like it kind of gives the actors a bit of permission to like play off of each other and like go into various different things. And particularly once I was in the edit and I was going through the footage, obviously like, yes, this is according to the script and all that, but then rather than the usual script cutoff, it's like, okay, this is where we now jump into the interview. you can push it out a bit more. It's like, okay, he's improvising now, but it's like starting to build that crescendo of that intensity, and it's purely it could not have been achieved had they not been given the permission to riff a bit. And so, yeah, I like, you kind of need to give particularly comedians the permission to be like, okay, you're gonna improvise, knock out whatever you got in your mind, but also it's like, we also got to keep the story going.
And then how do you film it? Because, there's 3 people in this scene, and one person could be saying something, but you don't know who between the next 2 is going to respond or where it's sort of going to go. You said that the scene ends a certain way and they have to get to the ending. But when you're in the middle there, how do you sort of manage to film, and like, how do you know where to point the camera and sort of also when not to point the camera at something?
So obviously, like I said, there's the scripted part and then there's the improvised part. I think for the for the scripted part, we would obviously like block it out and be like figuring out the shot. It's like, okay, you're seated here, you're seated here, you're going to sit here. And because it's like the start of the mockumentary side thing, it's just like, okay, we're going to reveal various elements of the thing. We're going to reveal the screen where you're doing your edit of the film within the film. Then I'm going to reveal the first character, then the second character, and then finally the third character. And as a result, I'm pulling the camera outwards in this particular motion. And when you've got like obviously the scripted part, that's all well and good. You can literally just plan it all out and everyone's doing their part. But the moment, yes, as you said, in the improvised scene, you got to be fast. You really got to be fast because you never know what's gonna happen. I mean, there was a moment in that edit that I sent you, like they're both talking, and there is like a moment like, oh, I don't know which way to point the camera, but then you got to make a decision, just bang, and then capture that moment and then continue on. But yeah, in the improvised moments, you just really got to be fast because you never know. Maybe he's going to be talking for the next 2 seconds and he's going to say something hilarious, or he's going to say something and then you got to jump again. But it is a mix of planning versus just being in the moment and then what have you.
The other part of the scene, the other scene that you showed me, is this chase sequence, all 70s style, quite fun, quite frantic. I'm sure that was all shot list, planned out, quite precarious, maybe a little bit of figuring out on the day. Do you have more fun working in a really structured way like that? Or do you sort of find more enjoyment when there's a lot more room to play and a lot more room to try something with how you're shooting it?
Yeah, I mean, there is obviously times where like you have to like obviously structure it all out and what have you. Udi was absolutely onto me because Peter was like, "Where's the shot list? Where's the shot list?" Like, yes, I'm gonna get it. But thank God we got it in the end because it really did help on the day. Definitely need a shot list on the day, but also you do need to have. I'm the kind of cinematographer or filmmaker, like I can't seem to just like draw a storyboard if I don't visit the location. If I don't visit the location, I just can't imagine how we're going to film something. So I have to like rock up to a location at least like a week before we film or something like that, or well in advance. And I just have to see the location. I have to walk around the space and check it out. It's like, okay, so I could probably put the camera over there, maybe over here, maybe over there. We can bring the camera around here. And then I'm like, okay, now that I know what got my limited by in terms of the set, now I can determine what my shot list is going to be. Okay, so camera over there, that's going to be shot 3. And as a result, I've got somewhere to start with. So I know this is going to be shot 1, 2, 3, but then I can rock up on the day with the plan, shot 1, 2, 3. But then I can be like, oh, actually, you know what? If we put a camera over there and then zoom it right in, that'll be a very nice tight shot that we can work with, and we can scrap shot 3 and work with 1, 2, and that shot over there. So yes, obviously come in with a plan, come in with the shot list, come in with some structure, but don't just then lock yourself off and like, we're not shooting anything else. Like, keep yourself open to other possibilities.
Are you enjoying the post process and getting this ready to show and pitch other investors, networks, people you're trying to?
At the editing side of things, particularly like amongst all the corporate videos I do, obviously this is so much more creative than, it's all creative the things that I work on. Like there's always a level of creativity, no matter if it's narrative or corporate. But particularly with Licensed Tequila, this particular project, it is so much more tapping into just purely the creative side of things, because you're working with a creative script, a creative concept, people's creativity with the acting. And again, once you fall into that flow of the edit and you can see the edit flesh itself out, it is quite a lot more enjoyable. And then you re-watch it over and over and you can see like, okay, it's working here, it's not working there. And you tighten up the scene, and it is a beautiful moment when it just runs. You hit play and it runs and it's just making perfect sense. And you're like, sweet, this is going beautifully. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's see how else the flow can keep going.
This isn't the first pilot you've worked on. We met because you edited my pilot.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did indeed.
Fit and Fed.
Fit and Fed.
That was like 2.5, 3 years ago.
Yes, indeed.
Where'd all the time go?
Yeah, it was
you got ripped. That's what happened.
It was all you, man. It was all you. Like I watched that. I got all that footage. I cut it all together. I was like, fuck. Russ Samuel. Bloody hell, man. I want to look like that. And he got me in shape.
Yeah. Russ Samuel, our lead. Like, lovely bloke. But he's like incredible shape. And all of his roles are quite physical as well.
Yeah,
but he just makes all of us look like shit. He's such a hard worker.
He's currently getting ready for High Rocks. Like at the time of this recording, he's getting ready for High Rocks, and like the guy's absolutely smashing it in the gym. Like my God, like he's sub 40 minutes, like probably even better than that, of like doing the whole thing. It's nuts.
He had on his Instagram as well, we're just blowing so much smoke up Russ Samuel's ass right now. He's gonna love this. He had on his Instagram, he was for Top Dog, Underdog, he had 2 different shots of his back compared to before starting his program compared to after. And he's already an incredibly muscular dude, but the conditioning and how it all looked was just remarkable.
Yeah, I know.
More than anything, what I'll say about Fit and Fed is thank you for editing it.
No,
you were paid the most in the crew, so congratulations.
Cheers, man. Little fun fact. I mean, like you know, but like just to tell the audience. So funny thing, like obviously I got on board to this project and like we worked and that's how we met, that's how I edited. But then I dropped this little bombshell and you was like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm going overseas for quite a while and I don't know when I'm returning because I literally have no return date set as of yet. So I'll be over in Scotland and Iceland and Germany while I edit this.
Yeah.
And I literally was doing that. I was literally like in a library in Reykjavik, Iceland, in my laptop with the hard drive plugged in, editing Fit and Fed to get it over to you.
I remember us having an editing meeting and you were in some friend's spare bedroom in Germany or whatever it was. And I'm like, all right, you're doing your thing, but you're getting this done, so that's all good.
Yeah, but that's the beautiful thing about like editing in today's age. Like you got access to cloud and the internet and sending files or what have you. It's so awesome. Like there are stories about editors trying to do this back in the 90s. Yeah, like can you imagine with like laptops back then and the slow modems? But like now that we're like in today's age, like you can edit anywhere, you can film anywhere, there's no excuses, honestly.
Yeah, so get out there and do it. We filmed that we had 2 cameras and John Bow, the other cinematographer,
great guy.
And me being the other one too. He was the main one, I was the other one, that's more accurate. He was on a monopod and was able to move and get dynamic shots. And I had used the tripod I had since I was 13 that was rigid and crappy. And I watched a rewatch Fit and Fed, and I just see some of the jarring movements, and I'm like, well, that's a shitty old photography tripod that I used. But that's, that's all I had.
Yeah,
and
you make do with what you have.
we made something that we're pretty happy with still.
I'm quite happy with it, honestly. That I'm not ashamed of it one bit. Not one bit, honestly.
I appreciate you saying that. I think if we get back to it, we'd have to make like 6 or something like that. Just doing one feels a bit incomplete.
So let's line up the audience. Let's line up the actors. Let's line up the interviewees.
And get a budget. One of my favorite projects of yours that is not really going on at the moment, Iron Monk Fitness.
Ah, yes.
Do you still shoot with them?
Yeah. I was literally shot with them yesterday.
Never mind, you're still working with them. Some of the earlier projects though with Iron Monk Fitness are some of the funniest Instagram reels ever. Do you want to explain what they are? And
I mean, all credit really to DeAndre Ricks, the owner and operator and the trainer of Iron Monk. He comes up with this. He comes up with these ideas and these scripts to talk about like health and fitness, what have you. And we try and keep it like.
What are the videos? So like.
So his mentality is like he wants it to be educational but also comedic to try and attract the audience to like learn something but also have a good laugh as it's going on. And so like we he'll take some sort of.
And by comedic, you mean like irreverent, borderline offensive, banned on TikTok funny.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it's just like he'll push it as far as possible. But like that's what like people love and it's what people are appealed to. And as a result, like we've pushed it quite far. It's ridiculous. And like he has literally kidnapped me in one of the videos. Like full blown kidnapped me. And tied me up and stuck me in the back of a truck.
Yeah.
That was one video. Another video, he chased me down with a circular saw. In the same video, he force-fed Russ Samuel.
He force-fed me.
Oh, yes.
There's a great, it's a hilarious shot because it's only like 12 frames, but he pulls a cigarette out of my mouth and then puts a carrot in there instead.
Yes.
And I've never had anything enter my mouth with velocity like that before, and we had to do it like 8 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but that was a particular shot as well. What I found it hilarious was that you were drinking like a chocolate milk or something like that, and he's walking past, he's talking to camera, and then he smacks it out of your hand, and it went straight for me and got me right in the chest.
Exploded.
Just all over.
Goodness me.
It was great.
Yeah. How does working on a project like that feel compared to a pilot or something like that?
Well, I love the fact that it's like a lot more like looser and a lot more freeing and what have you, because like obviously he wants to do his best. He wants to like try and make it as high quality as possible. But it is also a bit freeing and it's also a bit more like, all right, like let's just like literally just think of what we can come up like in the moment, and sometimes we come up with the best ideas in the moment, like or maybe like we got access to one of his cars, or maybe a wig that he has access from one of his kids. At the gym, like he's got all this equipment around, and so as a result, like let's get this one line that we're talking about, and let's have you upside down doing crunches whilst hanging off of the the chin-up bars or what have you, and you start just. That's what where the beauty of the improvisation of filmmaking really comes into play, because obviously yes, you want to shot list everything as much as you can, be prepared, but then also sometimes it's like, what can we do right here, right now? What's literally just coming to our mind right now? And it really just is a good exercise for the creative muscle, just to try out. It's like, okay, maybe in this one shot you're gonna use the barbell, you're gonna throw it, I'm gonna whip pan the camera. And then, we'll have our friend then catch it on the other side, and he'll deliver the next line. We didn't think of that beforehand. We literally just come up on the day and we think about how can we communicate this point across, and what do we have access to us. And it's just fun.
In the years that you've been doing this, do you have any favorite shots or anything like that?
Oh man.
What comes to mind?
Quite a few, honestly. A good friend of ours from the gym called Ricky. We wanted to do like a carjacking scene, and we dressed him up in an old lady grandma suit, and we put makeup on him and all that. And he played an old grandma very, very well.
Yeah.
And it's about time we actually bring that character back, because that was a fan favorite. Everyone was like going nuts for that character.
It's quite funny because it's sort of like the big bad wolf and how he's clearly just really jacked dude underneath this granny costume. And
Yeah, and he played it perfectly. He played it so well.
we have a tradition on this podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for our current guest. And the question for you today is, do you have a life motto or mantra?
Phew. Yeah, I mean, not to get this conversation into a dark place now, but I think for me, what really has helped me throughout my life is one day at a time. Take it one day at a time, or actually, more specifically, one day more, or just until tomorrow, or I don't know. It comes and goes, like depending on how I'm feeling. But like, no matter how shit today is, or how bad things are going, just you never know. Just one more day. Just wait one more day, because because I've had instances where like I'll literally have the worst day ever, like in this moment, and then I literally just wait one more day, and then the next day is suddenly like everything starts working out. Like you get people give you a compliment. All your clients decide to pay their bills, or just it is that thing. It was just, if you literally just give yourself just one more second, one more moment, one more breath, one more day, guaranteed it gets better. You just keep going. Just keep going.
And on that beautiful note, unfortunately, Dmitri, we do have to wrap up.
Not a problem.
Where'd all the time go? But thank you so much for coming on. Always amazing insights, always a good chat, and we don't catch up as much as we should.
We should, man.
We'll have to find another time.
Absolutely.
I'll see you at the gym. I'm wearing an oversized t-shirt, so you can't see the flab that's going on.
I will send DeAndre after you.
Oh no, he'll get me. Yeah. All right. Thank you, everyone. See you next week.